Hallo Klasse, heute machen wir eine Übung. We're doing a practice with reflexive verbs and pronouns in the accusative case. Here you can see the accusative reflexive pronouns. If the subject is ich, then the pronoun would be mich. If the subject is du, then it's dich. If the subject is sie, es, or someone's name, or an object of any kind, then it is sich. If the subject is wir, then it is uns, ihr is euch, and sie, plural and formal, would be sich. We're going to look at some common verb examples that are reflexive in German, so outside of the ones on our vocab list, so you see some other examples. Sich fragen is an example of one of these verbs. Fragen can be not reflexive when it means to ask, but when you use it with the reflexive pronoun sich fragen, it means to ask oneself. Ich frage mich, du fragst dich, I ask myself, you ask yourself, wir fragen uns, we ask ourselves. So in English, we're more likely to say that I wonder something. If I ask myself something, I am wondering something. Here it is in a sentence. Fragt sich, wo der Hausschuh ist. So he is asking himself, he wonders where the slipper is. Can you change this sentence to be about yourself? So I ask myself or I wonder where the slipper is. Please write the sentence. Here is what you should have written. Ich frage mich, wo das Hausschuh ist. So the became ich, fragt became frage, and sich became mich. Here's another common verb that is reflexive. Sich entspannen, to relax. Du entspannst dich nach der Schule. You relax after school. Can you change this to be about yourself, to say I relax after school? The underlined parts that you see here are the parts that you have to change. Write the sentence. You should have written, Ich entspanne mich nach der Schule. I relax after school. And again, these reflexives mean that these are things you're doing for yourself. Hence that I am relaxing mich, myself. Sich abtrocknen is another common reflexive verb. It means to dry off. And since it's reflexive, it's implying that you're drying yourself off. The ab is a separable prefix, which is why I drew that red line there. So whenever you use it in a sentence, the ab is going to go at the end. So if I'm saying that I dry myself off with the towel, I would say, Ich trockne mich mit dem Handtuch ab. And there you see ab at the very end. Can you change this to say that you dry yourself off with the towel? You're going to use du and change the things that are underlined in this sentence. Go ahead, write that sentence. You should have written, Du trocknest dich mit dem Handtuch ab. Reflexive verbs are much more common in German than in English, which is why whenever you're using reflexive verbs in German, it doesn't always directly translate to what you would say in English. So don't let that trip you up. One example of this is the verb beeilen, to hurry. So the German is reflexive. You would say, Ich beeile mich. In German, that means that I'm hurrying myself. But in English, we just say, I'm hurrying. Same thing for du. Du beeilst dich. You are hurrying. But the German has that reflexive dich to say that this is something you're doing to yourself. Take a look at page 17 in your packet. At the very top, there's a box of verbs. Try to create a sentence example where the German is reflexive, but it isn't in English, so it would not directly translate. Create a sentence. I am going to go over everything that you wrote during this ed puzzle that you submitted to see how you're doing, just to kind of check in. Hopefully this worked out for you and you got to try a few examples, and we'll see each other in class tomorrow. Dankeschön. Auf Wiedersehen.